Chapter 11 Absorbing the 100-Year Spirit Ring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is the art of archery at the lowest level. What does it mean to pay close attention to detail, to perfect the control of skills, and to achieve the unity of man and machine? To put it in layman's terms, Lin Chuan can now hit the target with perfect accuracy within 50 meters. If his soul power is increased, the range can be expanded to about 80 meters. This is quite an exaggeration for a 6-year-old child, coupled with the arrows that have been refined once, and with multiple blessings. Their power cannot be underestimated. The king of the earth struggled hysterically, and the severe pain drove him into madness, and he began to run rampant. With a large number of grass and tree debris flying in the sky, Lin Chuan jumped onto a big tree and took the initiative. To distance himself, he knew very well that this was the madness of the king of earth before his death. To take the initiative at this time was to seek death, really. In an instant, red light burst out from the king of earth's body. With its body as the center, the air within a few meters began to twist, cracks were visible on the ground, and the temperature in the air also increased at an extremely fast rate. Coming soon, as soon as Lin Chuan finished speaking, the king of earth raised 2 huge pliers and beat the ground violently, and a strong shock wave spurted out instantly. There was a loud bang on the ground, and a pillar of red fire rose into the sky. There is no clear goal, just to destroy everything. TSK, that's really exaggerated. If he had stayed within that range, he would have been cooked by now. Looking at the spectacular scene like a flaming purgatory in front of him, Lin Chuan couldn't help but sigh softly. This is the power of the soul beast. If it weren't for the secret attack and taking away the Earth King's vision, he might not be the opponent of this big guy in a head-on battle. Even if you can win, it won't be that easy. In comparison, it is much safer now. Lin Chuan was not in a hurry, sitting far away on the treetops, quietly waiting for the king of earth to exhaust his strength. With the power of his 2 arrows just now, they not only pierced the eyes, but also penetrated into the brain. Even if this big scorpion has tenacious vitality, it will definitely not last long. Now you just need to wait quietly for its vitality to drain away. Everything was just as Lin Chuan imagined. The Earth King's powerful soul power fluctuations, coupled with the terrifying magma-like high temperature, prevented other nearby soul beasts from daring to come near, and no soul master was aware of the situation here. After about 1 stick of incense. Boom! The king of earth finally exhausted his strength and hit the ground hard. However, this big scorpion's vitality is indeed strong, and until this moment, it still has a breath left. It's finally over. Lin Chuan stood up slowly and looked forward. The flames filled the air, the smoke billowed, and the high temperature made him feel sticky and uncomfortable. The destructive power is really exaggerated. It has already set the mountain on fire. But with the water attribute soul beast around, there shouldn't be any trouble. Don't worry, I'm here to end your pain. Lin Chuan didn't get close. He took out an arrow again and shot it out with all his strength. The sharp arrow pierced the shell of the Earth King and ended its life. Faint yellow light spots began to condense above the Earth King's body, forming a clearly visible yellow halo, which was extremely shining. Xiaochuan, did you succeed? Xiao Wu jumped to Lin Chuan's side, her eyes slightly shocked. I didn't expect that the centuries-old king of the earth would be killed so easily by a 10th-level soul warrior. Especially the calm battle process made Xiao Wu's whole body go cold, but after all, he is the king of the earth who is thirsty for blood. Although he is not the public enemy of spirit beasts, there are very few spirit beasts that like them. Therefore, Xiao Wu is also frightened in his heart, but he has no other thoughts. I'm lucky, it's much easier than I thought. Lin Chuan smiled slightly and walked to the corpse of the king of earth. The nearby flames are still burning, and the temperature is obviously higher than before, but the flames are spreading outward and will not affect the inside. In other words, this is simply a natural place. So hot. Xiao Wu had only been close for a while, but she was already dripping with sweat. Xiao Wu, I will start to absorb the soul rings next, so please help me protect the law. Seeing Lin Chuan's serious look, although Xiao Wu felt a little uncomfortable, she still nodded. You are protected by my sister, Xiaochuan, just feel free to absorb the soul ring. Seeing Xiao Wu agree, Lin Chuan didn't waste any time. After all, the Star Do forest is very dangerous. You might encounter 1,000-year or even 10,000-year spirit beasts at some point, so it's better to be tighter. Lin Chuan sat down cross-legged, and the black short bow slowly floated up in his hand. Under the pull of the soul power, the soul ring of the Centennial Earth King flew towards Lin Chuan, and an invisible pressure also fell on him. As the yellow halo gradually shrinks, it is set on the black short bow. In an instant, a hot energy poured in from his right hand, and soon rushed to his whole body. Lin Chuan felt as if his whole body was in a sea of fire. Not daring to be careless at all, he quickly started meditating. While enduring the severe pain, he was also refining this energy. If you meditate seriously once, if you gain something, your soul power will increase slightly, and your soul power meditation proficiency will +1. If you meditate seriously once, if you gain something, your soul power will increase slightly, and your soul power meditation proficiency will +1. In his mind, his proficiency in soul power meditation began to beat crazily. However, Lin Chuan could no longer care about other things at this time. He was only thinking about refining the energy in his body as soon as possible to avoid being blown up by this hot and manic energy. Fortunately, the soul meditation technique that has reached the 3rd level is extremely efficient. Under Lin Chuan's urging, the soul power in his body is also flowing rapidly, swallowing all the outsiders. Although it is still painful, the situation is slowly getting better. At this moment, Xiao Wu, who was guarding Lin Chuan, also looked at him nervously. Looking at the red Lin Chuan, Xiao Wu was a little worried at first, but as time passed, the condition of the person in front of him did not deteriorate, but tended to be stable, and Xiao Wu was relieved. Dong dong dong. At this moment, a heavy footstep suddenly sounded. The ground began to tremble slightly. Faced with the sudden change, Xiao Wu did not feel nervous, but showed a touch of surprise on her face. Ming, why are you here? That a tall giant ape walked out of the forest. Sister Xiao Wu, you are finally back. The Titan ape showed a human joy on his face, but when he saw Lin Chuan sitting cross-legged behind Xiao Wu, the joy on his face froze instantly and turned into hostility. Human soul master, you also hunted soul beasts. Kill you. That without saying anything, the Titan ape raised his huge palm and planned to crush Lin Chuan to death. Stop, Ming, he is my friend. Xiao Wu stood in front of Lin Chuan at the right time and stopped the Titan ape. Chapter 12, First Soul Skill, Explosive Arrow. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Hearing Xiao Wu's words, the Titan giant ape shook his big head, with a hint of innocence in his eyes. Sister Xiao Wu, this human may have seen me. Xiao Wu was stunned for a moment, and then immediately shook her head. It's okay, Xiao Chuan is trying his best to absorb the soul ring, and he can't detect the movement outside at all, so my identity will not be leaked. Also, Ming, you are too impulsive. Next time you feel my breath, observe from a distance first, otherwise if you rush over like this, it will be very troublesome if there are other people around me. The Titan giant ape nodded humanely, and his lantern-sized eyes revealed clear stupidity. Ming, is Daming okay? Xiao Wu asked again. The Titan giant ape nodded again. Daming and I are fine. After all, there are no soul beasts in the forest that are our opponents. But Sister Xiao Wu, it's too dangerous for you to be alone in the human world. Of course I know, but I must avenge my mother. Xiao Wu bit her silver teeth lightly, her eyes full of sadness and hatred. But that woman was already a titled Douluo a few years ago, and now her strength has probably improved. Sister Xiao Wu may not be her opponent alone. The Titan giant ape growled, slightly worried. Not to mention, the woman was accompanied by 2 titled Douluos, and her identity was obviously extraordinary. With her, there were 3 titled Douluos, and Xiao Wu was at a disadvantage alone. Even so, I won't give up. Xiao Wu shook her head stubbornly. Since I chose to embark on the path of transformation, I can't give up halfway. Suddenly thinking of something, Xiao Wu turned her head and looked at Lin Chuan, who was red all over. I thought that Tang San, who was born with full soul power, was a rare human genius, but now thinking back, I'm afraid that this human boy in front of me is even better. If I can get other help, maybe. Xiao Wu's eyes flickered slightly, and her mind gradually became active. I don't know how much time has passed. The redness on Lin Chuan's body began to fade, and a crisp sound of breaking seemed to come from his body, and the violent and hot energy was completely integrated with the soul power. Seeing this, Xiao Wu also knew that Lin Chuan had successfully absorbed the soul ring and was about to wake up, and hurriedly urged him, "Xiao Chuan is about to wake up. Ming, you should go back quickly and report to Daming for me." Although he was very reluctant, the Titan giant ape still nodded, got up and ran away. After another stick of incense, Lin Chuan's appearance had completely returned to normal, and the soul power in his body gradually calmed down. Slowly opening his eyes, he saw Xiao Wu's curious eyes. "Xiao Chuan, you finally woke up, I'm so bored." It was rare for Lin Chuan to successfully obtain the soul ring. He was in a good mood and chuckled, "Xiao Wu, thank you for protecting me." Xiao Wu waved her hand nonchalantly, "You're welcome, we are friends." "Friends?" Lin Chuan's eyes flickered slightly, but he didn't respond. "Let's not talk about this anymore. What soul skills did you get?" Xiao Wu cast a curious look again. Lin Chuan did not hide it either. He used his soul power to release his martial soul, then pulled out an arrow from his quiver, drew the bow and put the string on it. The yellow soul ring behind him lit up instantly. Suddenly, Lin Chuan saw the arrow on the bow suddenly glow with fire, and the tip of the arrow flashed a dazzling red light. "Release your fingers." Swish! The arrow shot forward, the arrow accurately inserted into a tree with a diameter of 3 meters. With a bang, the trunk exploded violently and was cut in half. Not only that, the flames swept around and ignited the rest of the grass and trees. You use a soul skill seriously and gain something. Explosive arrow proficiency +1, archery proficiency +1. Listening to the loud noise beside her ears, Xiao Wu swallowed her saliva and could not help but stand there in a daze. This is too powerful, and there are elemental attacks. Yes, this is my first soul skill, the explosive arrow. It releases an arrow carrying the power of flames. When it touches an enemy or obstacle, the arrow will explode, causing fire damage to enemies within the range. It sounds ordinary, but the effect is quite good, and Lin Chuan did not tell all about the explosive arrow. Since the soul skill comes from the King of the Earth, it seems to have inherited the characteristics of his innate ability. The power of the first soul skill can increase with the increase of soul power, and the basic value will also increase. In other words, if the power of the first soul skill is 10% at level 10 soul power, then when the soul power reaches level 11, in addition to the increase in soul skill power caused by the increase in soul power, the basic power will become 11%. Of course, this is just an example, not really 10%. In a word, Lin Chuan's first soul skill is growth. Other martial spirits can also achieve such a growing soul skill. For example, the 7 Treasures Glazed Pagoda, which is known as the world's #1 auxiliary martial spirit, has a skill amplification effect that increases by 10% with each additional soul ring. Let's get back to the point. The effect of the explosive arrow was obviously beyond Lin Chuan's expectations, but no matter what, choosing the Earth King as the first soul ring is undoubtedly a wise decision. Now Lin Chuan not only has a growing soul skill, but his soul power has also soared from level 16 to level 18, a full 2-level increase, thanks to this 100-year soul ring. At first, I thought that this Earth King was only over 500 years old. But after absorbing it, Lin Chuan found that it was not just that, at least more than 600 years old, and not far from 700 years. Otherwise, it would be impossible for his soul power to increase by as much as 2 levels. Name, Lin Chuan, soul power, level 18, first ring soul master. Blessing, heaven rewards hard work. Blessing from blue stars will, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much you gain, your efforts will definitely be rewarded. Skill, soul meditation LV3, 351/1000. Skills, archery basic, 327/1W, spearmanship basic, 513/1000, sword skill basic, 475/1W, boxing basic, 533/1000, body skills basic, 133/1W, seeing and feeling domineering LV1, 342/1000, soul skill, the first soul skill explosive arrow LV1, 1 out of 100, after just one soul hunt, all abilities were greatly improved. Sure enough, compared to working behind closed doors, progress will be faster if you continue to experience it. Even soul skills have proficiency. I don't know whether it is the mastery and use of soul skills that are improved after the level is higher, or the power of soul skills that is improved. Lin Chuan's face was full of expectations. This trip to the Star Do Forest was considered a complete success, that is to say, the soul power is still 2 levels short of breaking through to level 20. Otherwise, you can directly hunt for the second soul ring and then choose to leave. However, an almost is an almost after all. For now, Lin Chuan does not have the strength to stay in the Star Do Forest for a long time. He was lucky to meet the King of Earth this time, but he may not have such good luck in the future. Xiao Wu, let's go. Chapter 13, Showdown, causing trouble for the Tang family father and son. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ah, are we going back now? Xiao Wu pouted, her face full of reluctance. It was so hard to come back, and it was bumpy for several days along the way, but after only half a day, we had to leave immediately. How could anyone accept this? Unexpectedly, Lin Chuan shook his head gently. I'm not going back to Notting College. Why? Xiao Wu was suddenly a little anxious. The reason why I went to Notting City to study was to learn the method of soul power cultivation and to understand the knowledge of soul beasts. Now that the goal has been achieved, there is naturally no need to stay. Then you let me go back alone. Xiao Wu pouted, her expression slightly indignant. If she had known that there would be only one person going back, she would not have chosen to follow. Lin Chuan's lips moved slightly, and then he said calmly, in fact, I suggest that you don't go back, it's better to stay in the Xingdou Great Forest. The plain words fell into Xiao Wu's ears like a bolt from the blue. The girl's face turned pale, her pupils shrank slightly, she was silent for a moment, and then she forced out a smile. Xiaochuan, what are you talking about? The Xingdou Great Forest is so dangerous, how can I stay here? Isn't this your home? Lin Chuan looked normal and asked sharply again. Xiao Wu was speechless. Even if she couldn't believe it in her heart, she now understood that her identity had been discovered. That firm tone, no matter how much she argued, was obviously useless. Xiaochuan, how did you see it? Did you hear what I said to Ming just now? Lin Chuan shook his head gently. I knew your true identity from the beginning. You are a 100,000-year-old soft-bone rabbit from the Xingdou Great Forest. I have to say that you are really brave to run to Notting City, which is so far away from the Xingdou Great Forest. How did you know? Xiao Wu subconsciously took a step back after her identity was exposed, but she was very curious in her heart. This is my secret. I can't tell you. Since you helped me protect the law, I advise you to stay here. Faced with Lin Chuan's dissuasion, Xiao Wu was silent again, and then shook her head. I have my own things to do, and I can't stay in the forest. But your identity has been exposed. How could it be, Xiaochuan, you? What are you thinking? I didn't reveal your identity. Lin Chuan rolled his eyes immediately. It's because Tang San, his father is from the Haotian sect, and he is also a titled Douluo. He has already discovered you, otherwise why do you think I ran away? What? Tang San's father is a titled Douluo? Xiao Wu was shocked, and her face instantly lost color. The other party clearly discovered her identity, but did not kill her. Could it be that he was preparing for Tang San? In an instant, Xiao Wu thought of many things, and she felt that her mind was in a mess. At the beginning, she deliberately chose to enroll in a remote area to prevent encountering Soul Douluo and titled Douluo level Soul Masters, but she won the jackpot directly. Thinking of this, Xiao Wu was immediately scared. Why are you telling me this? Lin Chuan shrugged casually, with a smile on his face. Who knows, maybe it's because we're friends, or maybe he doesn't want you, a 100,000-year-old rabbit, to be cheap to others. Then you tell me this, aren't you afraid that I will disappear? Xiao Wu pursed her pink lips and looked at Lin Chuan with a complicated expression. She didn't understand his intentions at all. It was obvious that she was not his opponent. Even if Lin Chuan couldn't absorb the 100,000-year spirit ring at present, the 100,000-year spirit bone didn't have such high requirements. That was something that countless spirit masters dreamed of. Wouldn't he be tempted? This has nothing to do with you. I have my own plans. Lin Chuan waved his hand and didn't intend to explain too much. Before we part, I have 2 more words to say. You'd better stay in the Xingdou Great Forest and cultivate to maturity before considering entering the human world and avenging your family. After all, a 100,000-year-old soul beast, and a transformed soul beast, is a favorite in the eyes of countless soul masters. Not everyone is like me and can let you go. Xiao Wu opened her mouth, but no words came out. Dong dong dong. At this moment, the ground began to shake, and the birds in the forest were startled and fled in panic. Lin Chuan naturally noticed this. It seems that someone is looking for you. In order to avoid you killing people, I will leave first. Good luck, Xiao Wu, I hope we will have a chance to meet again. Leaving such a sentence, Lin Chuan did not stop, and quickly turned around and rushed out of the Xingdou Great Forest. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared in the dense jungle. Looking at Lin Chuan's back, Xiao Wu's eyes were extremely complicated. Suddenly, a large number of trees were knocked away, and the Titan ape that had left before appeared next to Xiao Wu again, or it didn't go far. After receiving Xiao Wu's call, it rushed over without stopping. Seeing that Xiao Wu was fine, the Titan ape was relieved. Sister Xiao Wu, are you okay? Xiao Wu shook her head gently. I'm fine, Ming, but my identity has been leaked, and I'm afraid I'll have to stay with you and Daming for a while. What? Ming was shocked, his big eyes like lanterns flashed with murderous light. I'm going to kill that human. No, Ming, it's not him. I was discovered by a titled Douluo in the academy. It was Xiao Chuan who told me about this and brought me back. Xiao Wu hurriedly stopped the Titan giant ape. If he really wanted to chase this big guy out, he was afraid it would cause an uproar. Although the 100,000-year soul beast is powerful, it will still be defeated if it encounters a super Douluo or several titled Douluo. So it's best not to go out, lest someone discover you. Okay, Ming, let's go back first. Okay, Sister Xiao Wu. Although the situation was a bit bad, at least Xiao Wu would not leave again. The Titan giant ape was still very happy. He quickly leaned down and let Xiao Wu sit on his shoulders, then turned and ran towards the depths of the forest. Outside the Star Dou forest, unable to capture the breath of the soul beast, Lin Chuan slowed down. It's good news that we haven't come after you. Choosing to have a showdown with Xiao Wu was an idea that suddenly occurred to Lin Chuan on the way. Tang Dachui discovered Xiao Wu's soul beast identity, but did not choose to take action. He definitely had the idea of maximizing Tang San's soul power until it reached level 90 before killing her. It's a good idea, or it's human nature. Originally, Lin Chuan didn't intend to pay attention to it, and planned to grow up honestly, and then find a chance to leave. However, as time passed, the prying behind the scenes gradually became more and even became more and more excessive, which made Lin Chuan feel a little uncomfortable. If this continues, Tang Dachui may kill someone and silence him. He originally planned to take advantage of Tang Dachui's absence to run away secretly, but Xiao Wu followed him. It would be better to take the opportunity to cause some trouble. Tang Hao was targeting the 100,000 years rogue rabbit, so he went to the Star Dou forest by himself. Look inside. Chapter 14 Yu Xiaogang, you are too cruel. Tang Dachui, I am the mistress's father. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Junior Soul Master Academy doesn't teach much, and the graduation requirements are quite relaxed. As long as you successfully obtain a soul ring within 6 years after enrollment, you can graduate successfully. Lin Chuan has almost squeezed out the value of Nodding Academy, so there is no need to go back. In comparison, the Advanced Soul Master Academy may be able to provide some help. The simulated training environment is also quite good for the increase of soul power training. Even if Lin Chuan can obtain rice containing the essence of heaven and earth through soul refining, the training speed is not slow, but he doesn't mind being faster. However, Lin Chuan has not yet decided which Advanced Soul Master Academy to choose. Besides, Lin Chuan is just a civilian with no background. It is really not an easy thing to enter those Advanced Soul Master Academies, unless he actively exposes his strength, an 18th level one-ring soul master who is only 7 years old will definitely be scrambled by countless forces, but Lin Chuan does not intend to do this, at least not for the time being. It is better to improve the soul power level first, strive to obtain the second soul ring first, and at the same time upgrade all skills to the next level, and then consider other things. Let's travel and practice at the same time. At the same time, Nodding City, Junior Soul Master Academy, midnight. Now that the holiday has been half a month, most of the students choose to go home, and only a small number of them stay in school. The once lively campus is now unusually deserted. In a room, Yu Xiaogang sat cross-legged with his eyes closed, trying his best to meditate, but after half an hour, there was still no improvement in soul power, so he had to stop. After opening his eyes, his face was full of disappointment. Is it still useless? No matter how I practice, my soul power is stuck at level 29. I'm really unwilling. Yu Xiaogang clenched his fists, his expression full of unwillingness. He worked so hard, and he also mastered so many soul master theories, but because of his congenital deficiency, he couldn't even break through level 30, even if he became a famous theoretical master on the continent. What's the use? He is still a waste, although others are respectful to him on the surface. Yu Xiaogang knows very well that they dare not be presumptuous because of their status, but behind the scenes, I'm afraid I don't know how much I will laugh and ridicule. When he thought of those people's faces, Yu Xiaogangs face became more and more ugly, but soon it relaxed like a change of face. It doesn't matter. Now that Xiao San is here, he will definitely be able to prove my theory. Then those stupid guys will know who is the real master of theory. Thinking of Tang San's training under his own training, he obtained the perfect spirit ring configuration and became the most powerful title Douluo in Douluo Continent. Yu Xiaogang couldn't help but get excited. Bang! 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 However, before he was happy for long, the door was suddenly knocked. Yu Xiaogang quickly put away his excited expression and returned to his expressionless appearance. The door is not locked, please come in. With a creak, the door was slowly pushed open. A tall and burly middle-aged man walked in, wearing a tattered robe, with messy hair and beard, looking very sloppy, but his eyes were particularly sharp. Every step he took, the floor creaked. Hello, master, I haven't seen you for many years. A deep voice came from the middle-aged man's mouth. He walked to Yu Xiaogang and took off the hood on his head, looking at the vicissitudes of life but familiar face. Yu Xiaogangs expressionless face twitched instantly, and a rare excitement appeared in his eyes. How Tian Douluo. It's me. I didn't expect that you can still recognize me even though I look like this now. I didn't expect that my guess was right. Xiao San's father is really you, but how did you become like this now? Yu Xiaogangs words trembled slightly, and his heart was full of confusion. What happened to make the high-spirited Haotian Douluo become like this now? As if Yu Xiaogangs words reminded him of his memories, Tang Hao's eyes flashed with sadness, and then a strong murderous intent emerged from his body. The terrible pressure made Yu Xiaogang tremble violently, and he fell into endless fear. Fortunately, Tang Hao reacted in time. Otherwise the master in front of him would become a cripple even if he didn't die. It's all old news, let's not talk about it. I came here this time to ask you for something. What is it? Yu Xiaogang took a deep breath and managed to calm down. I have to leave for the time being. There are things I have to do, so I want to ask you to take care of Xiao San. Leave? Where to? Yu Xiaogang frowned slightly and couldn't help asking. Xiao San is only 7 years old, he is your son, are you going to leave him alone? Tang Hao glared with his tiger eyes, and his aura became stronger. This is not something you should consider. Xiao San is my son. Since he has chosen this path, there are some things he must bear, and others can't help him. What's more, I've been away for so long, it's time to come back. Listening to the cold words, Yu Xiaogang took a deep breath and his emotions gradually calmed down. I know, don't worry, Xiao San is my apprentice, I will naturally take good care of him, but I also hope you remember that Xiao San is your son. You don't need to remind him, he will always be my son. Tang Hao glanced at Yu Xiaogang, his tone was unusually calm, then he raised his hand and a black token fell on the table in front of the master. Xiao San is in your hands. Leaving this sentence, Tang Hao put on his hood again and disappeared in the room. Alas, Yu Xiaogang held the black token and couldn't help but sigh. After leaving Yu Xiaogang's room, Tang Hao hid in the shadows and was about to leave Nodding College, but at this moment, his face suddenly changed, and he came to the 7th dormitory in an instant, pushed the door and entered, but there was no one inside. Damn, where is the person? Tang Hao's eyes widened, his face gloomy. I didn't expect that I would disappear after just a few days of going out. I was too careless. Without hesitation, Tang Hao turned around and disappeared in the night. 2 days later, Barak Kingdom, Sodo City, a dark figure appeared outside Sodo City. It was Lin Chuan who left the Star Do Great Forest. This was also the first city he chose to train. This is Sodo City, it's so magnificent. Looking at the tall and heavy city walls, Lin Chuan couldn't help but sigh. In the past, the cities built to defend against enemies were at least more than 10 meters high. In the eyes of ordinary people, the cities that were insurmountable were nothing compared to Sodo City. Even the main city of a kingdom was like this. It was hard to imagine how magnificent Barak King's city or even the capital of the Tiando Empire was. TSK, looking at it this way, Nodding City is really backward. Lin Chuan couldn't help but laugh at himself. I was the country bumpkin. After queuing up at the back of the city entry team, I successfully entered Sodo City after waiting for a while, and the guard stationed at the gate did not stop me. It seems that there is no so-called road pass in Douluo Continent, and basically there is no restriction on the flow of population. If you think about it carefully, for a group of soul masters with extraordinary powers, even behemoths like the two empires are difficult to restrict. Instead of wasting effort, it is better to let it go directly. Chapter 15, Change of Plan, Make Money First. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Lin Chuan walked into Sodo City with curiosity. This was also the first city he arrived in after leaving Nodding College, and it was the main city. Everything around was so novel. Let's find a place to stay first. Since he planned to stay in Sodo City for a while, he naturally had to find a place to stay. After finally finding a cheap hotel, Lin Chuan's face was not very good. God knows why a room can be so expensive. Should we say that it is worthy of the price of the main city? If this goes on, we will have to starve. We have to find a way to make some money. Walking out of the upstairs and passing by the reception desk, the previous receptionist was busy at the counter, which made Lin Chuan's eyes light up and he walked up quickly. Hello, I want to inquire about some news. The male receptionist was a little uninterested at first, but after seeing the 5 copper soul coins thrown by Lin Chuan on the counter, the light of money burst out in his eyes, a flattering smile hung at the corners of his mouth, and his attitude changed 360 degrees in an instant. Sir, you are so polite. How can I help you? This is my first time in Sodo City. I want to ask if there is any job that can make money. Lin Chuan did not feel embarrassed and asked directly. Such straightforwardness made the male receptionist feel awkward. Sir, are you a soul master? Yes, Lin Chuan nodded gently. The male receptionist showed envy with his naked eyes. After all, the identity of a soul master is still very noble, even the weakest one-ring soul master. Sir, you are really young and promising. As for making money, there are really many ways in Sodo City. The male receptionist first flattered Lin Chuan inconspicuously, and when he saw that Lin Chuan did not react much, he continued to talk freely. Sir, you can choose to fight in the soul fighting arena in Sodo City. Even if you fight the lowest iron soul fighting, you can get a bonus of 10 gold soul coins if you win a game. However, the disadvantage is that you are prone to injury, and you will get nothing if you lose. In addition, you can also go to the mercenary tavern. There are almost all soul masters there. From time to time, there will be caravans going there to issue escort missions. The rewards are still quite generous. The disadvantage is that it is easy to encounter danger. If you are not strong enough, there is also the risk of death. In addition, leaving the copper soul coins behind, Lin Chuan left the hotel directly. These 5 copper soul coins were worth spending, and he got a lot of information. For example, the mercenary tavern is obviously something that did not appear in the original book, which is also reasonable. After all, Douluo Continent is a real world. If possible, I would like to go to the soul fighting arena directly, but I don't even have the money to register. It seems that I can only find a way to get some money first. 10 gold soul coins are really a lot. Lin Chuan curled his lips, feeling helpless. He really realized what it means to be a hero with a penny. No wonder it's hard for civilian soul masters to make a name for themselves. Following the route the male receptionist said, Lin Chuan successfully found the location of the mercenary tavern. The noise inside was quite noisy and could be heard even standing outside the door. Lin Chuan did not hesitate and pushed open the wooden door to enter. A strong smell of sweat hit him in the face. Lin Chuan frowned slightly, but still endured the discomfort, walked around the crowd and sat down in front of the counter. He looked up while wiping the cup and stopped what he was doing. "What do you want to order?" "I'm here to make money. I heard that I can get commissions here." That the bartender paused, looked at Lin Chuan with a scrutinizing look, and then nodded slightly. "Yes, many people will come here to commission. This is my first time here. Can you give me a brief introduction? The notice wall is over there. What you want is on it." The tone was not polite, but it was not annoying. It's better to say that this is the way strangers should get along with each other. After all, others are not your father and have no obligation to provide free help. "Thank you." Lin Chuan nodded, stood up and walked to the wall beside him. Many people gathered here, either thinking alone or talking to each other in groups of 3 or 2. Some were strong and some were weak, but they all had a bloody aura. It was obvious that they were all soul masters who lived on the edge of a knife. Lin Chuan's arrival naturally attracted a lot of attention, but he didn't care. His eyes fell on the notice wall, where a series of task commissions were posted: caravan escort, soul hunting assistance, material search, and solving rebellious soul beasts. "It's really comprehensive." Lin Chuan raised his eyebrows slightly, with an expression of surprise. Many commissions did not write the remuneration, only the contact address of the client was left. The specific details of the commission required the soul master and the client to discuss in detail. In other words, the mercenary tavern is not responsible for contact, and it does not guarantee the safety of both parties. It is quite simple. Lin Chuan saw the disadvantages at a glance. Without sufficient credibility guarantee, it is difficult to confirm whether there will be trouble in the middle, and even murder and robbery are not impossible. "Let's try to find one first." Lin Chuan didn't think too long. He chose a commission to escort a caravan, wrote down the contact address, and then turned around and left the tavern. After searching for a long time in Sodo City, he successfully arrived at the destination. "Do you want a soul master to escort you?" "Yes, you are a soul master who comes to take the mission." The leader of the caravan looked up and down at Lin Chuan, looking at the latter's extremely young appearance. He hesitated, and couldn't help but murmur in his heart, although he is a soul master, but he is too young. "Yes, I see there is no soul master level requirement, so I thought of giving it a try." Lin Chuan nodded. The leader of the caravan was a little embarrassed, but he still managed to smile on the surface. "There is indeed no level limit, but I would like to ask, how old are you, little brother?" Lin Chuan did not respond, but instead used his soul power to summon his own short-bow martial soul. At the same time, the century-old spirit ring also emerged. 100-year soul ring? The caravan leader was immediately shocked. His first soul ring is 100 years old, and he is obviously not very old. He is definitely a genius. Thinking of this, his attitude changed instantly, and he smiled with satisfaction. "I am blind, so this trip will be troublesome for my little brother. As for the reward..." The caravan leader thought for a moment and tried to make an offer. "How about 5 Gintama coins? Of course, this is the reward for not encountering danger. If you encounter some troubles along the way, the reward will be calculated separately." "I wonder if this price is acceptable." After thinking briefly, Lin Chuan asked one more question: "Where is the destination?" "Not far away, in the Sword City of the Silvus Kingdom." Sword City, one of the main cities of the Silvus Kingdom, is also very close to the Star Forest, but it is not particularly far away. "Then, please cooperate." Lin Chuan was quite satisfied with both the reward and the commission, asking for a wave of investment in new books, a wave of recommendation votes and monthly votes. If you readers have any suggestions, you can mention them and I will read them. Chapter 16. You can't just set flags randomly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Early in the morning of the next day, as soon as the sky was light, Lin Chuan got up early. It was rare to find the first commission, and it was so suitable, so he naturally couldn't miss it. When Lin Chuan arrived at the gathering point outside Soto City, the caravan had gathered here early, and carriages loaded with various goods were lined up on one side of the road. The leader of the caravan, who had met yesterday, was now counting the goods and the number of people in detail. Soul Master Lin, you are here, so you will be responsible for guarding the 2 carriages. That the leader smiled kindly and arranged Lin Chuan properly. Lin Chuan nodded and came to his position honestly. At this time, he had the leisure time to look around. According to the situation perceived by the observation color domineering, there were a total of 8 soul masters, including him. Among them, there was a soul master, 5 great soul masters, and 2 soul masters. It seems that the person in charge of this caravan spent a lot of money. Next, we will rely on all the soul masters. Now that everyone is here, let's set off. That with an order, the entire caravan began to slowly leave Soto City. Next, they had to cross a small part of the Lima Plain and bypass the Jianshan Mountains to leave the Barak Kingdom and enter the Sylves Kingdom. At first glance, there seemed to be no danger on the road, but soul beasts are not only found in the Soul Beast Forest. Whether it is the Lima Plain or the Jianshan Mountains, there are more or less soul beasts, especially the most fertile Lima Plain, which is very suitable for soul beasts to live. However, for safety, the Tiando Empire once sent people to sweep, and most of the soul beasts with powerful cultivation were either killed or driven into the soul beast forest. Now, most of the soul beasts left are rabbits, hedgehogs, snakes and other types of soul beasts, and their strength is not strong. Basically, they are less than 1,000 years old, and even 100-year soul beasts are very rare. Even so, 10-year soul beasts are still a great threat to ordinary people, which is why soul masters are asked to escort them. Compared to the heavy losses caused by the impact of soul beasts, the rewards paid to soul masters are often less. Not to mention, there is a 3-ring soul master in the team. Even if they encounter soul beasts, they can't cause much trouble. After learning this, Lin Chuan was a little more relaxed. A 100-year soul beast is not a threat to him. It seems that this escort will be unusually easy, so during this period, Lin Chuan did not waste time. He sat in the carriage to meditate and practice soul power while rushing on the road. When the team stopped to rest, he started to practice swordsmanship. That kid is really hard-working. A group of mercenaries gathered together, chewing dry food in their mouths. I heard from the head of the caravan that although that boy is only a 1-ring soul master, his first soul ring is 100 years old. Wow, it's really enviable. Is it true? That boy looks no more than 8 years old. You think he is a genius and works hard, and he will definitely achieve extraordinary success in the future. Unlike us, we can only eat and wait for death in this life. Even the 3-ring soul master, even if he did not participate in the chat, could not help but show a touch of approval in his eyes when he saw Lin Chuan constantly swinging his sword. The outside world's discussion did not affect Lin Chuan at all. He was completely immersed in his own world. You seriously swing the sword once, gain a little, and your swordsmanship is proficient +1. You seriously meditate once, gain a little, your soul power is slightly improved, and your meditation proficiency is +1. The jumping numbers in the mind are the greatest encouragement. Time passed by little, Soto City had long disappeared from sight, and all around were endless plains. The vegetation about half a person's height swayed in the wind, rising and falling like waves, which was quite spectacular. The air was also mixed with bursts of grass fragrance. Everyone, please be vigilant next time. Soul beasts may attack at any time. Once you leave the Lima Plain and arrive near the Jianshan Mountains, you can relax. The caravan leader looked serious and his words were full of pleading. The soul master chuckled, his eyes full of confidence. Don't worry, supervisor, as long as I am here, even if they encounter soul beasts, they will never come back. That's right, don't worry. The other soul masters also spoke in agreement. Lin Chuan did not speak, but silently watched the surroundings. This situation is almost the same as the environment of the Qingdao Great Forest. The sight is completely blocked, and it is difficult to judge whether there are soul beasts hiding in the weeds. In addition, the road is difficult to walk, the caravan has a large number of people, and they are carrying goods. If they really encounter a large number of soul beasts attacking, it will be a real trouble. At least they can't run away, they can only fight. I hope nothing will happen. Lin Chuan sat in the carriage and let out a long breath. Wait, he seems to have set a flag. Something is happening. Almost at the same time, the middle-aged soul master's expression froze. Stop. The caravan stopped moving forward, and everyone looked around with vigilance. Over there. Someone shouted, and there was a rustling sound in the bushes not far away, and a series of dim lights shot out from the bushes. Damn, it's a ghost wolf. The figure in the bushes finally emerged. It was a group of evil wolves. Looking around, there were at least 50 of them, most of them were about 1.6 meters long, and their bodies were iron gray. At this time, they were slowly moving forward with a siege. In addition, 2 of the ghost wolves were particularly eye-catching. Its body length is at least 2 meters, and it has 2 long fangs in its mouth, which look particularly sharp. 200-year-old netherworld wolves, we are in trouble. The middle-aged soul master looked grim, and everyone present was also facing a great enemy. The netherworld wolf is a social soul beast, and usually there are not too many wolves in a pack, and the wolf pack in front of them is obviously a large wolf pack. Even if there are only 200-year-old netherworld wolves, it is not so easy to deal with them with the number stacked. Protect the vehicle. The head of the caravan also looked unhappy. He thought that this trip would be very smooth, but he encountered this situation not long after leaving Soto City. Master Soul Masters, please do your best. As long as you can repel these netherworld wolves and protect the goods, we are willing to reward you handsomely. Don't worry, it's just a group of wolf cubs, and it's still within the controllable range. The middle-aged soul master took the initiative to speak, full of confidence in his words. After hearing this, the other soul masters seemed to be injected with confidence. Although they were still a little flustered, at least it would not affect their combat effectiveness. Then I'll leave it to you all. Taking advantage of the fact that the nether wolf had not launched an attack for the time being, the caravan members drove all the carriages together and tried their best to calm the frightened horses. I'll deal with 100-year-old nether wolf, and the other one will be handed over to 3 great soul masters. The remaining 2 great soul masters will deal with the remaining 10-year-old nether wolf. You 2 soul masters will be responsible for protecting the vehicles. How about that? Naturally, everyone had no objection to the arrangement of the middle-aged soul master. However, Lin Chuan's expression gradually became solemn. The observation hockey captured that there were 2 nether wolves hidden in secret, one of which had at least 600 years of cultivation, and the other was actually 1,000 years of cultivation. Chapter 17 Middle-Aged Soul Master. Ah. Me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. TSK, the situation is worse than imagined. Lin Chuan glanced around vaguely and murmured softly. It was obvious that other people were not aware of the danger hidden in the dark. A nether wolf with a cultivation level of more than 600 years, coupled with a nether wolf with a 1,000-year history, was really dangerous, especially the Millennium Nether Wolf, whose cultivation level is equivalent to that of a Soul Lord. Of all the Soul Masters present, I am afraid that only the third-ringed Soul Master can compete with him. Lin Chuan subconsciously looked at the middle-aged Soul Master. At this moment, he was possessed by a martial spirit. It seemed that it should be a bear-like martial spirit, but the 3 soul rings emerged, white, yellow, and with only 30-level soul power, he was definitely no match for the Millennium Nether Wolf. Almost in an instant, Lin Chuan had already judged the strength gap between himself and the Netherworld wolves. He could only say that his luck was really bad. You can only rely on yourself from now on. Lin Chuan suddenly sighed softly. The wolves were so numerous that it would be difficult for him to escape by himself. Although the other soul masters were weaker, they could at least share a lot of firepower. If the Millennium Nether Wolf can be captured, this crisis will not be insurmountable. Lin Chuan summoned the black short bow without saying anything. He is just a small soul master. Even if he tells it, no one may believe it. On the contrary, it may affect morale. so it is better to hide it for the time being. Next, we can only take one step at a time. Ouch! With a roar, the netherworld wolves finally moved. Go ahead and kill all these beasts. Keep them away from the carriage. The middle-aged soul master roared loudly and rushed into the wolf pack first. The other soul masters were naturally not to be outdone. As agreed at the beginning, their respective divisions of labor were clear. Lin Chuan held a bow in one hand and a hatchet in the other, waiting beside the caravan. The netherworld wolves were huge in number and densely packed. They charged almost simultaneously and arrived in front of them in the blink of an eye. Ouch! One of the ghost wolves jumped up high, opened its bloody mouth and bit towards Lin Chuan. Die! Lin Chuan's eyes flashed, and he chopped away mercilessly with the hatchet in his hand. It was just a 10-year-old ghost wolf. Even if it was comparable to a soul master, it was not enough in front of Lin Chuan, and he was easily beheaded with a single blow. After refining, even a hatchet is still extremely sharp. The situation of other mercenaries is also good. After the 200-year-old ghost wolves were blocked respectively, the remaining ghost wolves, although there are a large number of them, have only been cultivated for several decades, but even so, the mercenaries protecting the caravan, not including Lin Chuan, only had 2 great soul masters and 1 soul master, so the pressure was still not small. After all, every time you kill a ghost wolf, you need to consume a part of your soul power. The facts were just as Lin Chuan expected. After the netherworld wolves came like a tide, they were finally unable to resist. The defense line was gradually broken. Some netherworld wolves chose to bypass and attack ordinary people in the caravan. For a time, screams were heard one after another. Many caravan members died in the mouth of the netherworld wolf, and the entire team fell into chaos in an instant. You evil beast, die! Sensing what was going on, the middle-aged soul lord's face turned livid, and he immediately used all his strength without further delay. The third soul skill, Powerful Bear Paw. The yellow soul ring suddenly lit up, and the huge bear paw hit the century-old ghost wolf in front of him. Ouch! The century-old nether wolf did not dodge and resisted the palm forcefully. He let out a whimper and bit the middle-aged soul master's calf with his mouth open. Damn beast, let me go! The middle-aged soul master was in pain, and he obviously did not expect that the ghost wolf in front of him could resist his third soul skill, and even bit his leg viciously. What's the point of exchanging injury for injury? However, the next moment, he completely understood. Ouch! With a sharp roar, a black shadow sprang out, with a speed that could not be caught by the naked eye, and rushed towards the middle-aged soul lord with a strong wind. Damn it! After all, it was Soul Lord. Even though he was very weak, he still reacted immediately, but his leg was bitten and it was too late to dodge. Call out! At the critical moment, another burst of wind came first. The black shadow instantly gave up his movements, pulled away in the air, and distanced himself after landing. Only then did everyone see the true face of the black shadow. It was still a ghost wolf, nearly 3 meters in size. Both its claws and fangs were long and sharp, shining fiercely in the sunlight. Millennium Nether Wolf. The middle-aged soul lord suddenly let out an exclamation, with a look of horror on his face. It's a lie. When the other soul masters heard this, they almost all showed the same expression, looking at the 1,000-year-old ghost wolf, their whole bodies trembling uncontrollably. He wanted to escape, but another century-old ghost wolf came out from behind and blocked his way. The face of the caravan leader was pale, even a little desperate. How could this be? Why are there still thousands of ghost wolves in the Lima Plain? Doesn't the Balak Kingdom send soul masters to eliminate them every year? No one can answer this question. Woo-woo. The Millennium Nether Wolf did not rush to attack. Instead, it stared at Lin Chuan with a fierce look on its face, growling in its throat, and its aura became more and more fierce. Did you avoid it? Looking at the arrow stuck in the left front leg of the Millennium Nether Wolf, Lin Chuan frowned slightly. He could naturally detect the sneak attack of the Millennium Nether Wolf, and he also used other people as bait, so as to take this opportunity to make the final decision. Unexpectedly, he still underestimated the Millennium Soul Beast. The arrow just now was aimed at the throat of the Millennium Nether Wolf, and the action was so obscure, but it was still dodged by it. Is this the danger perception of the Soul Beast? TSK, I should have ignored the life and death of others and used soul skills directly. Lin Chuan couldn't help but spit secretly. Of course, this is just talk. If the explosive arrow was used just now, even if the Millennium Nether Wolf could not be killed, it could at least be seriously injured, but the middle-aged Soul Master might also be affected. Lin Chuan can be ruthless to the enemy, but he can't hurt others at will. Perhaps the ideological education in the previous life was too profound. It can be said to be engraved in the bones, so that there have been some changes, but there is still a bottom line. But it's okay, one leg is enough. Looking at the blood on the leg of the Millennium Nether Wolf, Lin Chuan narrowed his eyes slightly. He was still very confident in his archery skills. Even if he didn't hit the throat, the front leg was pierced, and both the strength and speed would be reduced by at least half. In this way, it is not impossible to fight. If you don't want to die, use all your strength. You hold back this 1,000-year-old Netherworld wolf first. After I help them deal with the 200-year-old Netherworld wolves, I will come back to help you. Middle-aged Soul Master. Ah. Me. Chapter 18 Killing the Wolf. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The middle-aged Soul Lord looked suspicious of life. Lin Chuan immediately rolled his eyes. You are the Soul Master here. If you don't go up, how can I do it? Don't worry, I will be here to help you soon. After saying this, without giving the middle-aged Soul Master a chance to react, Lin Chuan turned around and ran towards the other century-old ghost wolf. Similar to what I had sensed before, this Netherworld wolf's cultivation level was around 600 years. It might not be a match for ordinary great Soul Masters, but it still couldn't defeat Lin Chuan. Ouch! The Nether Wolf roared like a gust of wind. Lin Chuan opened his bow and knocked an arrow, and the yellow soul ring behind him suddenly lit up. Explosive arrow. The arrow shot through the air and roared towards him. Boom! As expected, a violent explosion immediately occurred after the hit. The sudden impact caused the nearby weeds to stagger, and the sky was filled with flames that engulfed several ghost wolves. What a powerful soul skill! The sudden movement instantly attracted everyone's attention. Even the Netherworld wolves stopped briefly, with humanized fear in their eyes. The flames subsided, and the 600-year-old Nether Wolf was seen lying on the ground in a miserable state. He was whimpering softly. All of his wolf fur had been burned away, and he looked particularly miserable. Die! Lin Chuan shot another arrow through his head. A dark yellow soul ring slowly emerged. The battle came to an end in a flash of lightning, and no one around them even reacted. What are you doing standing still? The crisis has not been resolved yet. Lin Chuan did not stop, and drew another arrow and aimed it at the century-old ghost wolf that was under siege. The three great Soul Masters came to their senses instantly and immediately attacked with all their strength. Soon, the century-old ghost wolf also turned into a corpse. It's your turn next. Lin Chuan looked at the alpha wolf, seeing that his little brothers were all killed in such a short period of time. This 1,000-year-old ghost wolf how dared to stay any longer, roared in his mouth, turned around and fled without hesitation. The other ghost wolves were called and all started to run away. I just want to run away now, it's too late. Lin Chuan snorted coldly and drew the bowstring again. Explosive arrow. The arrow broke through the air and accurately landed not far in front of the Millennium Nether Wolf. It exploded violently again, and the fire swept across the sky. The impact knocked it directly out and hit the ground heavily. Die! Taking this opportunity, Lin Chuan shot another arrow. The arrow penetrated the Nether Wolf's throat and poked out from the other end. The 1,000-year-old Nether Wolf roared and fell into a pool of blood. Ouch! 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 Seeing this, the other Netherworld wolves lost the restraint of the Millennium Netherworld Wolf King. They all ran away with their tails between their legs and disappeared into the wilderness without looking back. Only corpses were left on the ground, telling the story of the battles that had taken place here. Win, win. We won. Many mercenaries gradually recovered from their daze. With disbelief in their eyes, they looked up to the sky and shouted in ecstasy for the rest of their lives. They survived. Even the middle-aged Soul Master fell to the ground without any strength at this time. His whole body was already covered in bruises. The pain from large and small wounds made him grin, but he was full of joy in his heart. It's incredible to be able to survive a 1,000-year-old netherworld wolf pack. Phew, it's finally over. Lin Chuan breathed a sigh of relief, and the black short bow in his hand turned into blue light spots and disappeared. Although there were some changes along the way, at least there was no danger in the end, and the 1,000-year-old netherworld wolf king was successfully killed, and at the same time, the netherworld wolf pack was repelled. Master Lin, thank you for taking action this time. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid we would have been killed by wolves this time. That the leader of the caravan stepped forward slowly, his words full of excitement. It was undoubtedly the wisest decision to entrust Lin Chuan with the escort mission. You're welcome. I'm taking people's money to eliminate disasters. What's more, I'm doing it for myself. After all, if you die, I won't be able to survive the netherworld wolves alone. Master Lin is so polite. This is a great kindness that I will never forget. If Soul Master Lin doesn't dislike it, please accept these 10 gold soul coins. It can be regarded as a small token of appreciation from the caravan. As he spoke, the caravan leader took out a money bag from his pocket. Lin Chuan's eyes suddenly lit up. Although he said that, he was really short of money now. The previously agreed reward was only 5 Gintama coins, which was already a considerable amount of wealth, but it was still far from enough. 1 gold soul coin can be exchanged for 10 silver soul coins and 10,000 copper soul coins. With only 5 Gintama coins, it was still far away from the registration fee for the Grand Arena, but now, it was achieved directly. In this case, I will be disrespectful. Lin Chuan naturally would not refuse and reached out to take the money bag. That's great. Seeing that Lin Chuan did not refuse, the smile on the caravan leader's face became even brighter. He thanked Lin Chuan from the bottom of his heart for his life-saving grace, and at the same time, he also wanted to have a good relationship with him. The first soul ring is 100 years old, and it can also kill 1,000-year-old soul beasts. Simply unheard of. In the minds of the caravans and mercenaries, Lin Chuan has been regarded as a genius who has come out to experience some big forces. If they can establish a relationship, they will naturally benefit a lot. By the way, the materials from the 1,000-year-old ghost wolf and the 600-year ghost wolf should also belong to me, right? Lin Chuan suddenly thought of something and pointed at the corpse not far away and asked. The head of the caravan barely hesitated for a moment and nodded quickly. Of course, after all, they were killed by you, Master Lin, so they naturally belong to you. However, you won't have to do this little thing yourself. If you trust me, why not sell it to the caravan and I will definitely give you a satisfactory price. That's troublesome. No trouble, Master Lin has worked hard, just go to the side and rest first. Lin Chuan nodded. It was rare for someone to do it for him, so he was naturally happy to be idle. Because of the previous battle, naturally no one rashly came forward to disturb them, and under the command of the head of the caravan, everyone began to clean up the battlefield. Although the nether wolf pack was successfully repelled, the caravan also suffered heavy losses. Several horses were eaten by the nether wolf, and the goods on the carts were scattered all over the ground, in addition to property losses. Many people died, including a great soul master and a soul master who died tragically, and another great soul master had his arm broken. The rest of the soul masters were left with wounds of varying sizes. As for the caravan members, more than 10 people unfortunately died. Everyone seemed to be exhausted, with a faint gloom in their hearts. As night fell, the people who had fought fiercely with the nether wolf pack leaned on the carriage and fell asleep one after another. Smelling the rusty smell in the air, Lin Chuan sat on the grass, looked up at the starry night sky, and couldn't help feeling a little emotional. The strong prey on the weak, and dangers are everywhere. This may be the real world of soul masters. For ordinary people, it doesn't seem as exciting as imagined. Chapter 19, Sword City Great Fighting Arena, Jax. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. When the first ray of sunshine rose from the top of the mountain in the morning, the caravan was ready to go and continued on its way. Even if you have just experienced a disaster, the familiar people around you may have died, but those who survived may remember or mourn, but still have to stride forward. This is life. Maybe it's a good time. The rest of the trip was not in danger again. I also encountered soul beasts along the way, but they were all very weak, and I drove them away without much effort. after more than half a month of long journey, a huge city gradually came into view. That is the destination of this trip, Sword City. It's finally here. Looking at the city in the distance that looked like a giant beast crawling, the entire caravan couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. With a long-lost joy on their faces, even Lin Chuan felt completely relaxed at this time. These employment commissions are really not easy. Not only do they have to be bumpy for a long time, but they also have to be highly nervous to be alert to situations that may arise at any time. This trip can be considered a small gain. The Silvus Kingdom is located in the south of the Tiando Empire, bordering the Balik Kingdom and the Star Do Forest. Its territory is larger than the Balik Kingdom. Both belong to the Tiando Empire, and Sword City is located in the Tiando Empire. The border of the empire is at the junction of the Kingdom of Silvus and the Kingdom of Barak. At the same time, Sword City is also a must-stop for merchants from Wuhuan City and Xinglua merchants. With the 4 trade routes intersecting, the economy here can be considered prosperous. Entering the city, the escort commission can be regarded as successfully completed. Even if there are some hiccups along the way, the reward will not be less. After receiving the commission paid by the caravan, everyone parted ways. Lin Chuan naturally didn't stay either. After rejecting the caravan leader's invitation, he disappeared alone into the crowd, throwing the money bag in his hand. There were dozens of gold soul coins in it. I didn't expect that I would gain so much from this trip and that it will last for a while. In addition to the remuneration, there is also money for the materials on the nether wolf. After all, it is a 1,000-year nether wolf. Whether it is wolf skin, wolf teeth or wolf bones, the prices are quite high. That's all 10 gold soul coins. It's time for the next training plan. Lin Chuan put the money bag into his pocket and walked briskly towards the great soul fighting arena. Although it is different from what was originally imagined, Sword City is also the main city. It not only houses the spirit hall, but also has a large spirit fighting arena. It is the same to stay here for a while. First we found a hotel to stay, had a good meal and took a shower. Lin Chuan just felt comfortable all over. Living in the open for more than half a month, the conditions were extremely difficult. Now I have finally returned to normal life after a long absence, and it is really indescribally comfortable. After eating and drinking, they rushed towards the great soul fighting arena of Sword City. On the way, I happened to pass by a store. Looking at the masks placed on the shelves, Lin Chuan suddenly stopped. Hide it a little. Choose a ghost face mask and wear it to cover your entire face without affecting your vision and breathing. In addition, Lin Chuan also took a fancy to a bamboo hat. The appearance is very handsome, almost the same as the hat worn by bad guys in my memory. I paid, took my things and left. When Lin Chuan arrived at the great soul fighting arena, the sky had completely darkened, but the unusually majestic building in front of him was still brightly lit, shining dazzlingly in the night. And this height of 100 meters is a bit too exaggerated. There were people coming and going all around and it was very lively. Lin Chuan put on the ghost face mask and followed the crowd into the big spirit fighting arena. Hello, I want to register for soul fighting. The staff at the counter looked up. When they saw the grimace mask on Lin Chuan's face, there was no surprise on his face. Instead, he showed a professional smile. Okay, please fill in your name, age, place of birth and martial spirit, and then pay 10 gold soul coins to complete the registration. Lin Chuan nodded slightly and quickly filled out the form. Soon, he had an iron fighting soul badge in his hand, which was the original badge. However, in the name column, Lin Chuan did not write down his real name, but instead used a code name. Jax. That is, the weapons master. Of course, Lin Chuan knew very well that he was not worthy of his name as a weapons master, but he at least mastered 3 kinds of weapons, which was barely enough. After passing the soul power test, the registration was successfully completed. Lin Chuan was ranked in the 13th sub-spirit fighting arena, and his opponent was a soul master. Before the battle of souls started, Lin Chuan walked around the big battle of souls and successfully found the area where he could buy the odds. This was also specially set up by the big battle of souls. You can place bets in advance before the game starts. If the winning party wins, the reward will be multiplied. It is also considered a legal transaction. However, only a small number of people can make a profit, and the vast majority of people who have the illusion of getting rich overnight often lose all their money. Let me see. Am I in Game 6? My opponent is a level 19 Soul Master with a record of 28 wins and 17 losses. He has won 3 consecutive games. Are my odds 1 to 3? TSK, I'm really looking down on people, but it's just right, it's time for me to make a lot of money. Lin Chuan chuckled and immediately took out 20 gold soul coins to buy himself a win. The Great Soul Fighting Arena does not explicitly stipulate that soul masters participating in the soul fighting cannot participate in betting. In each soul fighting match, there are special referees in the Great Soul Fighting Arena responsible for inspection. If a soul master participating in the soul fighting is found to have obvious fake matches, he will be retaliated by the Great Soul Fighting Arena. You should know that the Great Soul Fighting Arena was jointly founded by the 7 most prestigious soul master families in the entire continent. It does not belong to any one force and has a strong foundation. I don't know which 7 specifically, I feel that it is a pit in the original work. Of course, just listen to this, there is no absolute fairness in the world. In the face of interests, few people can remain rational. Maybe the Great Soul Fighting Arena will arrange fake matches according to the odds to cut other people's leaks. However, Lin Chuan is not worried about this. He is still very confident in himself. It is a rare opportunity to make money, so naturally he can't let it go. After doing all this, Lin Chuan returned to the 13th Soul Fighting Arena to watch the game. This place is very close to the Soul Fighting Arena, and it can also be said to be the legendary front row. Standing here is just right to see the whole picture of the arena, but even though it was a fighting arena, the area was still quite large. Visually, the diameter was at least 20 meters, with enough space for the soul masters to perform. Unfortunately, probably because it was a soul master fighting arena, the number of people in the audience was not as many as expected, only about 1/7 of the people were sitting. While waiting, Lin Chuan watched the 2 sides of the arena fight each other. They only had 1 soul skill, so the viewing experience was not as high as expected, not to mention that many people's first soul ring was only a white soul ring, and even the power was not satisfactory. When Lin Chuan was about to fall asleep, it was finally his turn to play. Chapter 20 Rising to Fame. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the soul fighting stage, a middle-aged man wearing a white dress was standing in the center. The following will be the 13th of our soul fighting arena, and the 6th one-on-one soul fighting. There will be 2 soul masters on the stage. They are Yuan Tu, the fighting soul master who possesses the beast spirit gopher, and Yuan Tu, who possesses the beast spirit gopher. Jax, the new combat soul master of Black Feather Bow. Whether soul master Yuan Tu can continue his winning streak, or whether the new soul master can come out on top, please wait and see. Then let's invite 2 fighting spirit masters to appear. That the middle-aged host was already trying his best to create an atmosphere, and some of the audience in the stands were really moved by him and began to chant Yuan Tu's name. On the contrary, there were very few viewers who supported Lin Chuan. Finally it's my turn. Lin Chuan slowly walked into the spirit fighting arena. Light shone from all around, illuminating the entire fighting arena like daylight. Noisy cheers came from different directions, which was particularly harsh. There is really a sense of déjà vu as a boxing champion enters the arena. Lin Chuan was also a little excited at this time. After all, for a man, there is absolutely no resistance to the cheers and shouts around him. Walking onto the high platform, your opponent comes into view. The other person is not tall, but rather short. At first glance, he gives off a sinister look, especially the eyes that keep turning around and the strange look in his eyes, which clearly carries evil intentions. Hey, I didn't expect to meet a raw melon egg. I deserve my luck. Boy, your fists and feet have no eyes. If you don't want to get hurt, just admit defeat as soon as possible. Lin Chuan. There was a trash-talking session before the game, but no one told him. No, let's do it. Okay, then let me teach you a lesson. Seeing that Lin Chuan refused to listen, Yuan Tu stopped wasting his words and stamped his right foot on the ground. A surge of soul power emerged from his body, possessed by the martial spirit. In the blink of an eye, Yuan Tu's face grew a beard, his front teeth protruded, and his nails became much longer. It looks even more obscene. Lin Chuan looked at the white soul ring behind Yuan Tuesday. The slight anticipation that he had originally had disappeared in an instant, but it turned out that the other party was just talking nonsense. I thought he could have 100-year soul ring for being so arrogant. Is this the result? Boy, don't say I didn't give you a chance. Show off your martial arts spirit. Lin Chuan shook his head slightly, casually took out the hatchet from his waist, and stood there casually. There is no need at all. This is enough to deal with you. As soon as these words came out, the relief on Yuan Tu's face disappeared instantly and turned into anger. Boy, are you humiliating me? Lin Chuan had no intention of answering, his eyes were extremely calm. Arrogant boy, get out of here. Yuan Tu let out a sharp roar, stamped his feet violently, and rushed towards Lin Chuan, his sharp claws hitting the front door. Lin Chuan did not dodge or evade, but casually struck out with the knife. Bai Lian flashed past, and the originally noisy spirit fighting arena immediately became quiet. The soul master named Yuan Tu only saw the flash of the sword, and his face was hit by a heavy object. His whole body turned into a shadow and flew backwards in the opposite direction, hitting the wall and setting off billowing smoke and dust. Everyone in the stand stared wide-eyed and speechless, even the host was stunned. What happened? I don't know. It seems that the soul master named Jax waved his sword, and Yuan Tu flew out directly. I didn't even have time to see clearly. This shouldn't be a soul skill, right? Some viewers came to their senses and immediately fell into discussion. The host finally recalled his responsibilities and quickly came to Yuan Tu's side. The latter's cheeks were swollen and he completely fainted. Then he returned to the stage, his voice trembling slightly with excitement. Oh my God, the fighting spirit master Jax didn't even use his spirit. He defeated spirit master Yuan Tu with just a hatchet. It's unbelievable. I declare that this one-on-one spirit battle will be won by the spirit master Jax. Perhaps the battle ended so quickly that everyone felt a sense of unreality. Lin Chuan curled his lips, put away the hatchet, and walked off the soul fighting platform. I'm a little overestimating these guys. If they are all of this strength, not to mention using fighting souls to improve their skill proficiency, they may not even be able to improve their combat experience. The only good news is that they can probably make money. That this is not what Lin Chuan wants. He chose to enter the great soul fighting arena to fight souls. Making money was only one aspect. More importantly, while making money, he could also hone his skills and gain combat experience. However, the situation is not as expected, not to mention the use of martial arts. Even the most advanced sword skills are completely unmatched by a first-level soul master. It is just like beating a child, which is meaningless. TSK, it looks like we have to speed up the progress a little. After the spirit fight was over, Lin Chuan did not forget to register the points, and by the way, he also received the reward for a successful spirit fight. I got back the 10 gold soul coins that I had used to register the fighting spirit. In addition, I also got the 59 gold soul coins and 4 silver soul coins that I got from betting on myself. He actually charges a 1% commission for winning in the great soul fighting arena. He is simply a profiteer. However, this is also the rule of the great soul fighting arena. Lin Chuan can only complain in his heart, but there is no way to change it. After all, his arms cannot twist his thigh. Lin Chuan spent most of the next time in the big spirit fighting arena. Every night, he had a steady single-player soul fight. No one below level 20 could match him, so he didn't even use a hatchet, but instead began to hone his boxing and spear skills. Even so, he still hadn't lost. At the beginning, the odds were still high, and Lin Chuan took this opportunity to make a lot of money, but as he won all the way, the odds became lower and lower, and the profit became negligible. Correspondingly, the name Jax became more and more famous in the Sword City soul fighting arena. During the day, Lin Chuan was also either practicing soul power through meditation, or practicing swordsmanship and archery. Now that no one was spying secretly, there was no need to worry about the soul refining rice being discovered. The only regret was that even the soul power meditation technique with a higher level still couldn't completely digest the energy contained in the soul refining rice. In addition, after each absorption, it would have a certain impact on the meridians, and Lin Chuan could only take one pill every 5 days at most, but even so, the efficiency of practice was still gratifying, even because of the higher absorption efficiency. The soul power growth rate is even faster than when he was a soul warrior. I am afraid that it will not take long before he can break through to level 20 and hunt for the second soul ring. It turned out that choosing to leave not in college was an extremely correct decision.